stations. Clear the air lanes. Clear all air lanes for the big broadcast.
It's been a little bit. Scheduling these podcasts has been a nightmare the past few weeks. Entirely on my end. I'll take all the credit for that.
He's too busy grooming his mullets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got a mullet now, kids. I'm about it. I like looking like 90s Superman. This has been my dream for many years.
Hey, you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, yes, I need this. I deserve this.
No, man, this is hashtag Mulletgate right here.
Mulletgate. All right, sure.
No. It's got to be make mullets great again.
Yeah, okay. I'm about that. I've already made mullets great again.
They would have had to be great in the beginning. I can't wait for the inevitable chapter in Bill's autobiography that Andrew's writing about the mullet.
I see. I'm really mad that Andrew's writing that now because he's like, Bill ripped off my mullet. He saw my mullet, and he just wanted one. He said that it was because of 90s Superman, but he's fucking lying, and I'm like...
What if that's how he wrote it? Because he's writing it in your voice. What if he wrote it as like, I fucking stole that Andrew guy's hairstyle, ain't I cool guy? Like,
I would be like, alright. Because I don't care about anything. I'll just accept anything. Like, you guys are making fun of my mullet. I don't really care. Like, I'm not gonna get it cut just because you guys are making fun of me. That's too much work. Like, I don't care.
I mean, maybe we're wrong. Maybe the chapter will be very mullet positive because he's a fellow mullet brother.
But that's not the point. The point is, I don't want to see. I don't care if he says that my mullet is negative. Again, I don't give a shit what you guys think about my mullet. I give a shit about him saying that I stole the mullet from him. That's what I give a shit about.
So you give a shit about your mullet's reputation.
I want my mullet to be exclusively my own fault. That's what I want. You know.
Okay. So if Andrew's listening, that's definitely how we should write it then, because that's the only angle he can work that will actually offend you.
I hate you.
And the PS4 came out with a slightly upgraded version called the PS4 Pro, which is essentially like a better version of the PS4 and allows you to do like 4K instead of HD quality pictures. It would allow you to have like 4K quality pictures if you have a 4K TV instead of an HD TV. Because 4K is now, I guess, the new thing in terms of of like quality, crystal clear definition nowadays.
4K,
that's like,
4K is fucking beautiful. I've seen it in Walmart. It's fucking amazing.
That was so great. I saw it in Walmart, you guys. It was amazing. You sound like a housewife.
Did you buy it? Oh, no.
You sound like a 70s housewife. Just like, oh, did you guys see the new 4K TVs at Walmart? What an amazing thing. What an amazing time we live in, you guys.
I'm just saying, I could make out like ripples on the water and leaves in the trees and shit. It's fucking beautiful. I felt like Louis Armstrong.
You start sharing like inspirational Bible quotes on your Facebook feed, like.
Wait, did I say Louis Armstrong? I meant
I can't wait to hear who you really meant because I can't fucking fathom who you're talking about.
So I thought, like, What a Wonderful World would have been a perfect song for this joke.
Wait. Is that Louis Armstrong?
Yes!
Yeah, that is Armstrong.
Wait, no, I'm not even sure.
I see crystal
Then I-
clear.
Okay.
High definition.
Then I did mean Louis Armstrong, but after I said it, I started getting him mixed up in my head with Neil Armstrong, and I thought, wait, no. Although that could work too, but no.
4K definition footage of Neil Armstrong's trip to the moon.
That would only make the conspiracy theories about the moon landing all the more, like, prevalent, I feel. People would be like, oh, there's 4K footage of the moon landing. How is
It's
there
too
4K
clear.
footage? It's too clear. You can see the wires.
How did Stanley Kubrick get a 4K camera? Raimi movies, which I still think hold up pretty well, the first two
Yeah,
anyways.
but there
The
is
second
definitely a thing to do with Spider-Man in high school, and I think that's why they're doing it this way.
Now, the Amazing Films, which is a really ironic title for them, they
I think the first one's okay.
the first one.
It doesn't hold up well.
The first one does have, to date, my favorite Stan Lee cameo. Previous to that, my favorite Stan Lee cameo is actually from one of my least favorite Marvel movies ever made, Rise of the Silver Surfer, because in that movie, he played Hugh Hefner.
Oh. My favorite one, I like the one in Guardians where Rocket is calling him a dirty old man and shit. I thought that was fun. I don't know. I like the one in Thor where he's driving the truck and he tries to pull Mjolnir out of the ground.
I really like that Stan Lee cameo in fucking Mallrats.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I also like the one in First Avenger where Steve Rogers is supposed to be getting a medal, but he's too busy fighting the war. So some other guy shows up to tell the presenter that, and Stan Lee's some general in the background, and he just goes, I thought he'd be taller. And I thought,
I was thinking of that
I laughed
as well.
out loud at that in the theater when I first saw it, and I was like, oh, that's great. I love it.
I liked the one in The Incredible Hulk because I felt like it was actually important
it's to the story. Yeah, I like that one too. They're all good. I like all the Marvel movies to some extent.
You ever hear the fan theory that Stan Lee is the Watcher of the Marvel Universe?
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
yeah, that would
but-
work. I don't think he's a good enough actor to make that work, though. You'd have to reveal that, and then the second you reveel it, he turns into a different actor. You know what I mean? Like, he turns into his full form or whatever.
Hey, fellas, I'm the Watcher. Excelsior, true believers.
He doesn't have a big enough head.
That's
He would need
kind
to
of, that's more, well, if he shave his head, I feel like he'd have a big enough head.
He has to transform at some point in the movie as to be like, this isn't even my final form, true believer. And then he
Yeah. He just explodes. Guts
Enough
everywhere.
said.
I feel like they need to kill Stan Lee on screen, so that way when he dies in real life, the blow will be softened because we already saw him die in the movie.
He just needs to be the Watcher and says, it's my time to go now. I've seen enough.
No, I want him to be brutally murdered on screen. I feel like
He
he's
already-
Horrible monster.
I love Stan Lee. Fuck you.
He already died in The Incredible Hulk, if you remember.
No, maybe no. I think he turned into a weird mutant. I think that was the point of that.
No! We never saw him again. What are you talking about?
Did they
do you
say
think
he
he went-
died?
Is Andres implicating that Stanley turned into Zeton in The Incredible Hulk?
I think I'm implying that because they never say that he died.
That was always implied.
I thought it was implied that he turned into a weird mutant man.
It's such a weird thing to imply. Why would anybody ever imply that?
Because it's the Hulk!
But
He's
it's
a
radiation.
mutant. It's mutations. Somebody else mutates in that movie by taking some weird liquid into the veins.
Now, what if
I think he mutated into a big green poodle. That's what happened. You know?
Maybe.
What
You
if
have no
Stan-
evidence to the contrary.
what if Stanley's mutation was like eternal life? That's why he's in the rest of the MCU movies. Would
So what
explain
are they
a lot.
going to do? CGI him after he's dead?
We can do it. We have the technology.
That would look awful. That sounds terrible.
Have you ever seen Stan Lee pop up in like a weird movie that's not even Marvel? It's a weird experience. I'll give you a really weird example. Okay. Back in the early 2000s, there was a shitty Disney movie called The Princess Diaries. And then there was a sequel to that shitty Disney movie called The Princess Diaries 2.
How dare you? My sister loves that movie.
And
Subtitle.
so do I. No.
Stan Lee appears in the sequel to that movie.
See, that's weird. Why would they put him in a movie? Because it's like, at least in the Marvel movies,
Maybe
like, well, he
because-
created this shit. It makes sense. But when he's not, like, it's like, well, what are you doing here, you weird, creepy old man?
Maybe the director is like, hey man, my cousin knows Stan Lee.
Well, what are you doing in this Princess's Diary, Stanley? Like, that's a little weird, I think.
Well, the director was Gary Marshall. They're both old fucks. Maybe they knew each other. You know,
maybe they hang out at the retirement home and drool into the same cup.
I mean, one of the two of them is dead now. But anyway,
so both of them will probably be dead soon. No. Sorry. If Stan Lee dies tomorrow, I'm gonna be so sad. Like
it's the curse. First Robin Williams, now Stan Lee, Bill.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dylan and I killed Robin Williams.
And don't forget, you killed the Boomafoo also.
We also killed the Boomafoo. And we didn't actually kill them, we just talked about them on DFOS. So maybe because this isn't DFOS, he won't die. Maybe because this is SOS, he won't die. I hope he doesn't die. I want him to die in the movie is what I said, just for clarification. I want to see him be brutally stabbed like Han Solo in Star Wars. Spoilers.
You could play on it in one of the PSP Battlefront games, but now that the prequels are a thing, putting it on Mustafar, a planet that actually has a personal connection to Darth Vader, is a great choice, I think. Makes
a lot more sense. Although it's a bit like, I mean, you don't look out every day and go, fuck me. Why did I jump up like that? You think that's it? Where he's like, I'm a real idiot. I gotta remind myself of my biggest mistake every day. I think that was a bizarre. Maybe he didn't choose it. Maybe the Emperor was like, "Hey Vader, I built you this great castle." He's like, "Oh boy, I can't wait." And he's like, "Oh boy, dude, I pimped you out so good." Like you've seen that show about the cribs, right? Like I can't remember what it's called, but it's about cribs.
It's called Space Cribs.
Right. It's great. It's on the Space MTV, STV, which I think that's sexually transmitted virus. Forget I said that. The Emperor's just high as shit. He's just floundering. He's still he's just, Vader, hang on. I just gotta finish this joint and then I'll get back to you. No, Vader, man, I got you this great castle and I'll take you to it right now. And he's like, oh boy, wait, is this, dude, this is Mustafar. Like, this is where I got my arms and legs cut off. And he's like, I forgot.
This place is the reason why I'm in a robot man suit.
I must have just slipped my mind that this was that same planet. You say you rolled into the lava. Oh, I channeled the lava right through your bedroom so you can get a cool, nice lighting effect. So when you bring the ladies up in there, it's all chill. I'm not bringing any ladies up into there. I don't have anything to offer them. I'm just a mass of meat in a weird suit that has a cool voice. That's all I am anymore.
The least you could do is be grateful. It's called a fucking lava lamp. Look at it. It's beautiful.
I mean, you didn't even cover up the lava. I'm not even attempting to do a Vader impression because I'm not going to embarrass myself. But, you didn't even cover up the lava in my bedroom. Like, it's literally just an open flow of lava. I could roll out of bed and just roll it. Like, it could happen all over again. Emperor's just fucking with him.
And then here we have a back to tank where you can dangle in your free time.
What do you think he's doing in there? Just like, it's nice to float.
Contemplating his anger.
Contemplating the fact that he can't even jerk off. Like, ugh. I mean, he probably
he can use the Force to whip up some
Yeah, he used. I guess he could use the Force.
Does he even have a penis anymore, though?
No, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't even have the gear anymore.
Chewbacca's maybe he's got speaking of gear, maybe he has the virtual reality gear that Chewbacca's grandfather or Chewbacca's father had in the holiday special.
I mean, yeah, he could just meditate and just activate the parts of his brain that you'd activate when you fucking jerk off or whatever, but we're thinking about this way too much.
He uses the Force to activate his dopamine reserves.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sure he can do that. And I'm sure, in the bath tank, the Emperor's already a pothead. We already established that, so he's just, fucking, just dumping raw cannabis into his fucking bath tank. And Vader, that's why people complained about Vader's voice in this, because when he got out of the bath tank, he was, crazy high. He was like, oh man, Krennic, what is even a Death Star, man? That's crazy. Why would you even want...
I got this sick joke that you'll enjoy. Then he channels his inner Shoma and says, "Hope you don't choke on your words. Get it? Because it's a pun."
I imagine Vader just like snickering on his way out, and he has to lean on a wall because he just started laughing so much. He just starts slapping his aide. He's like, "Did you hear that, man? Like, I don't make a lot of good jokes, but every now and then I just crack a really good one, and I just have to stop and appreciate it because I don't do it a lot."
There are moments in Empire where he gets sassy with his underlings.
Yeah, but he gets sassy a lot, and I don't feel like people give him enough credit for it. Like, I love how they're shooting on that ship at the beginning of A New Hope. Like, they know what they're about. Like, and at the end of Rogue One, we see that he sees them deploy, so he fucking knows what they're about. They're not fooling anybody. Like, oh, it's a peaceful consular ship. But where is the ambassador? And he just fucking kills the guy. Like, he doesn't give a shit. Anyway.
That Vader impression you just did sounded a little bit like Charlton Heston for some reason. Where is the ambassador?
Grand Moff Tarkin. The power of this battle station does not compare to the power of the Force.
Find your lack of faith disturbing, you damn dirty ape.
He tells it to Chewbacca.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that was not one of my sound effects. That was one of you motherfuckers.
No. And we should open with this. So, it's a new year. I'm sure some of you noticed.
It is?
Yeah, it is, Andres. I'm glad we could inform you. That's what this podcast is about. It's about informing people. It's about delivering people news.
I didn't know. Are we finally free from the curse that was 2016?
Yeah, but Andres, do you want to know what year it is?
What is it?
It's 2017, bitch.
Holy fuck!
I know, it's unbelievable, ain't it? We do usually do shit you may or may not care about with Andres Perez. This is kind of a play on that, so I figured we could do a bit of a different spin on it with this. Dylan, as you alluded to earlier, you have a soundboard, kind of. I don't exactly know what it is. You can explain that you got for Christmas. What's the deal with that?
It's just a tiny little novelty device with a bunch of buttons on it, and each button is assigned a sound effect.
So, give us an example. So, let's say I was like, poop. Perfect.
Wait, say something else. I might have a more appropriate one.
Donald Trump is the 45th president of the United States starting yesterday.
Wacky internet randomness.
The general trendy memes. And I feel like you could, like, both can fit, like, kind of in and out of, like, I'm not saying that memes have to fit in any specific category, because by the very virtue of being memes, they're against that kind of thing.
But Bill, you forgot a third category. The recently invented DANK Bill meme, which is, of course...
Right, the DANK Bill memes. That was another meme for 2016.
Oh my god. My proudest achievement in 2016 was that I got my own meme page. And half of it is people going, he's real fat! He's so fat! And I'm like, okay, I guess.
And the other memes are, he's stupid, he's so stupid.
And it's like, okay, fine.
Hilarious. You're not even that fat anymore.
I'm literally the thinnest person on this podcast. I'm not, and that's not being egotistical. That's just fucking fact.
I just think it's hilarious that I'm the fattest guy on this podcast, and everybody's like, "Oh, Bill's fucking fat."
And not to talk shit, but when we're in person, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who has any fucking common sense. So, I'm not to talk shit, but I'm just being real, so we can start the new year with some honesty.
I won't deny, because I'm the idiot who just shout out in the middle of a hotel, so I bring out my gun!
And I'm just like, maybe not do that.
The internet bows to no man until now. Wow. I forgot I used to say that until Sean Berry brought it up.
Yeah, you haven't said that in a long time, damn.
Yeah, I forgot I even said it. I forgot that was a thing at one point.
Wow, we have enough. We've been doing this long enough to get like actual like old history and old memes
Oh
that
my
actually
God.
feel nostalgic when you bring them up.
Oh, totally. I mean, remember the meme war from like 2 years back? I mean, that was pre-Godzilla 2014. That was like my freshman year of college.
Remember Plane Jizz?
Plane
You guys
Jizz.
remember
This
this?
show has gone so
You guys
far
remember
beyond
this
Plane
detail?
Jizz now.
Speaking of dead memes, Rocket Punch, motherfuckers!
Yeah, that's another old one. My God. I never had a thing when I was,
No. What you did was you would clap and say, "Hello, everyone."
Oh, I don't do that.
Yeah. The clap.
For that.
The clap was your thing.
Oh, I
was the one who
don't
did-
do that anymore. All the years of smoking have dulled that down to what's going on. I'm here. What do you want from me?
You turn to like the cheerful, happy, loud guy, and now you're
No,
just
I
like
dulled
the
that
paranoid
down.
asshole. Who are you? What do you want from me? Who sent you?
Who are you voices shouting at me from my computer?
Don't tell me to do things.
Oh, God.
Like a better story. My uncle once he didn't really hit the deer. There was once a deer who hit my uncle. And
That's
the reason I
scary.
say it that way
That's like
is
that's like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but with deer.
the reason I say it this way is that he did not hit the deer head on. The deer ran into his car, like from the side. And then its head was stuck inside the car, and he dragged it for a while. But,
Oh my God, that's brutal. My my uncle once, if we're keeping on with uncles murdering animal stories, my uncle was driving upstate once. It always happened upstate. All these stories happened upstate. And there was a lake on the left side of his car, and he was driving on the highway alongside the lake, and a bunch of geese were flying down onto the lake, and they just happened to pick the exact moment that he was driving past it, and they flew right into his car while he was speeding past. Fucked up his car. They all were slaughtered. It was just like shooting fish in a barrel, and he had to stop at a gas station and clean himself up in the car up, and it was not a great situation for anybody. Obviously, the car was gone forever.
my grandmother once hit a cow.
Ooh,
And
that's gotta be like quite the splatter, I imagine.
Well, it didn't die.
Wow.
It was a small car and an average sized cow. The thing rolled off her hood, mooed at her, and walked away. So
Just like, how dare you hit me in my love rolls?
That sounds like the night Bill lost his virginity.
Which for some reason David knows about.
she was working second shift at the hospital at that time, cleaning, and so she was coming home super late. It was dark out, and the cow was pitch black. So
The cow was pitch black, though? Is that what you said?
yeah, it was a black cow.
Wow. That's an entirely black cow. Like the Batman of cows.
Yeah, they come in a variety of colors still.
I'm aware. No, I am aware of that. But I've never seen an entirely black cow before that wasn't a bull.
Yeah, well, from what she tells me, the thing was black. I don't know if maybe it had like some white spots on it somewhere, but
Sounds like they cited Sasquatch by the way you're describing it. Like it was black, it had some white spots somewhere, I don't know, maybe, but otherwise it was pitch black and, it had long arms. Well, alright, I suppose that's enough animal murder. No, I got one more. So my uncle was on a golf course one time, right? And, he was teeing off on a par 5 and he hit his driver. And as soon as he hit, he notices that there's a goose just fucking chilling out down, like, by the fucking green and shit. And it goes a little bit more down the fairway, right to where his ball lands. It hits it right in the side. It just sort of stood still for a second, and then it dropped. And then there were more geese that he encountered later, and they attacked him as soon as he got near them.
It's the murderer. Kill him.
They take
He will
revenge,
avenge our
man.
fallen brethren.
They're vengeful as fuck, son. It's crazy. So it's nuts. But anyway, so
Only
Andre,
his golf club to defend himself with as he slaughtered them all. He snapped each neck.
this is the movie that we should be making. Fucking my uncle slaughtering geese with a golf club. I'll supply the geese. I'll get the geese and the golf club.
It's like the box art for Doom.
Bill will play his own uncle.
Sure, I can put on some weight and a bad mustache. It's no problem.
I know for a fact that Bill has golf clubs, but the first thing out of his mouth is, I will supply the geese.
I will supply the geese, Colonel Hogan. You supply the clubs.
I have the geese already. They're in the camps. And,
I have acquired the prime geese, the genetic pure geese for our film. Anyway, so Nazi geese wrangling aside. How much money you want? The PS4 here, we have that. How much? $600? Oh, Sonny, I can't. I have $85 here. I've stole from my son-in-law that I can use to buy my grandson his going away to the army present. So what can I get with that? Well, I have this Revenge of the Sith plug and play from 2006. That'll probably be it. I mean, it's like $30 plus tax, so it's gonna be like $50.
God, why is it still fucking bucks? I don't even
it's in it's prime condition. It's
here you go, Johnny, I got you a Pong.
I can't wait until Bill gets old, because this is going to be an accurate depiction of that.
It's going to be so much worse, though. I talk like that now when I go to a store. I'm like, Sonny, I need what do you call it? I need milk, I think they call it.
He'll be the one with the dementia, and I'll be the cranky old dude outside yelling at kids to get off my lawn.
My son asked for a game called Mary Joanna. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to find it.
Is that what we used to call back in my day a hack and slash?
Is that supposed to be the new version of Pong?
Excuse me, I asked my grandson what he wanted for Christmas, and all he wrote on this list was pot. Do you know what that is?
Is that an acronym?
Is that a board game?
Is that what fucking
like
what
Monopoly?
What prehistoric fucking era are you being sent back to, Andres? Did you get flung back into the past to live out the rest of your days like Doctor Who style? Like,
he comes back home with a fucking flower pot. Here you go.
It didn't
the nicest one on the market.
It didn't come with a controller. I thought that was weird. It must be motion control.
Remember when those were a thing?
It's cutting edge, Jimmy. Cutting edge.
They want something called VR nowadays.
I found a bag of weird green potpourri in my son's room, and now I feel kind of...
When he asked me for some VR, I had to swash his mouth silly.
You had to swash his mouth?
Wash his mouth. I do not allow that kind of language in my household.
Okay.
Andres, are you doing Fat Grandma? Is that what you're doing right now? Is that the voice that you're doing?
I don't know what this character is turning into.
It's a weird, mutation of fucking. I don't even know. Let's move back.
Anyway. So, yeah, they've announced that they were going to discontinue it after they had one wave. The first wave was immediately sold out. Then he announced they were going to have a second wave of units, and now they're just going to give up after the second wave. So if you don't for anyone who's interested in getting the NES Mini, go find it right now, before it's sold out and some scalper gets it and jacks up the price.
Beat up that grandmother character we've been doing all the whole time and steal their Nintendo Mini, fucking Jingle All the Way
I
style.
just wanted a Nintendo Mini. I wanted to show my grandson the games that my sonny played with.
I just wanted to make my grandson happy, and you broke my pelvis.
And my hip.
And my spirit.
My neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack.
All out on the sidewalk.
The last bit of news is that it's finally confirmed when exactly Shin Gojira is going to be coming to America. It'll be coming on Blu-ray, DVD, and HD digital on August 1st of this year, and it will be coming with the full English dub, along with
whoa, really?
A special feature. Yeah,
English. Will the Dragon Ball Z cast be used?
Let's see. I'm going to look.
They released the cast list, and I didn't recognize the names.
Todd Haberkorn, Trina Nishimura,
Todd Haberkorn,
J. Michael Tatum, Kent Williams, Ian Sinclair, Mika Solusod, Kate Oxley.
All right, here's my question. Why didn't they ask us? I would have loved to have played Rando. I would have been great.
Recite a line from the movie in your best Rando Yaguchi voice.
Fucking Prime Minister, listen, son. There is something on the ocean floor. There is blood in the fucking tunnel. It's crazy. You need to do something about it.
It's gonna send us back to the Stone Age.
It's wild. It's most undope, I must say.
Mad chill.
It is not mad chill. No, Mr. Prime Minister, it is not mad. Dylan's the Prime Minister. It is not mad chill.
We should just do an SOS dub of Shin Gojira.
I'm not opposed to it. We
should get Brayton, the man of 1,000 voices.
Well, I recently did my own version of a movie called Inframan. And
you can call it.
You call that a movie?
I call that art. Is what I call that. So this might be a project that we have to undertake, as we can do our own version of Shin Godzilla. I think, like Inframan, we'll have to cut stuff out just to make it doable, but we'll still do it.
Are we just going to straight dub the movie with silly voices, or are we going to DBZ abridge the shit?
I think we should DBZ abridge it, and also to have Godzilla. We should get somebody to do Godzilla, and all they'll do is just go, just like constantly in pain, just like a quiet scream, just like
We should all just take turns dubbing Godzilla.
Yeah, it's a mix of all of our voices.
Can my character just sit there the whole time and point out all the problems?
He just has a horrific collection of screams for his voice.
Sounds appropriate, given the ending.
I don't care who I play in this, as long as the abridged version of them is just some asshole sitting around pointing out all the problems with the movie.
I think that's fucking the Prime Minister, or the second.
No, oh, okay.
Yeah, the one who's talking about how soggy the noodles are.
Who would be Kyoko Ann Patterson?
David would be Kyoko.
Oh, you motherfucker! I was gonna say Sean Barry.
He's the one who wants to be inside of an Asian woman, so he can do it metaphorically. He can spiritually inhabit one via playing.
Here I was just gonna suggest Nicola.
No,
would you rather be Kyoko Ann Patterson or Laptop Girl? Your choice.
Which one would you like to be inside of, metaphorically, character-wise, in your head while you're playing them?
This is the most difficult decision I ever had to make in my life.
Oh my god!
Again, it's not sex.
Not in the traditional sense, anyway.
Well, thanks for ruining the fantasy, Bill.
I didn't say that.
Anyone actually buys and collects DVDs and Blu-rays in Japan. Nobody really collects movies. They just watch them occasionally on TV or at the cinema, and that's it. So that's why they're so goddamn expensive.
And they recreate them with shadow puppets throughout the rest of time.
So
they reenact them later in a scene not unlike the ritual on Odo Island from the original Godzilla.
And
again, I really like that ritual. We should perform that at G-Fest at some point. We should be like, we're gonna get on stage and do that. You guys would like that.
You feel free, Bill. You go do that thing.
Oh, come on. We're gonna have masks on, you pussy. Why wouldn't you do it?
I'll play Perry Mason. I'll just sit on the sidelines.
Perry Mason is dead, son. You can't play Perry Mason.
So is everyone else in that movie. No, I'm kidding. Bill and I recently watched and riffed on the original Gojira, and the version of the film that we created.
It was madness.
The version of the film that we created in that riff was all about the Japanese trying to accommodate Perry Mason on his vacation.
Because he was a famous American celebrity who was in Japan when Godzilla attacked, so they were trying to constantly make sure he was okay, because he was the only one who really matters.
So the whole movie was them trying to make Perry Mason stay comfortable, but there's just this big lizard that keeps getting in the fucking way.
Yeah, because that's all the movie is really about. We were watching the funny thing was that we were watching the Japanese version, which was the weird thing.
The best part. That was the best part. Is Perry Mason was never seen; he was only mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. It was more of a Godzilla 2014 thing, where he was more of an idea throughout most of the movie, and you only.
It started during that Odo Island scene I was talking about, actually, because one of the characters turned to one of the other characters and said, "Hey, did you notice that Perry Mason's here?"
Yeah. Oh my god! I'm so flustered. I don't know what to say to him. Can you believe it? I kind of want to go over and take a picture, but it's a really, it's the middle of the night and we're watching this weird ritual about monsters and shit. I don't think it's the right time. I see. He's got spikes on his head too. That must make it hard for him to shower.
Quick question, Bill. What is Ultraman?
Oh wow, that's the question that we all have to answer in life, isn't it?
That's ironic because I'm editing Ultra 7 right now.
I can't imagine how to describe Ultraman. He's a giant being from a faraway planet who murdered a man, brought him back to life, and then took over his body and killed other things because he liked it. That's what Ultraman. That's my breakdown of the original Ultraman.
I want to see. I want to see.
You always characterize Ultraman as like having murdered Hayata, when in reality it was more of like a mid-air.
Was a murder. It was manslaughter. We have discussed this before. I will not get into this again.
Our fucking Jane Goodall, you're the guy out there observing the Japanese species.
You're our Steve Martin in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Here I am now, George, looking out the window. There's a bunch of Japanese people mulling about. Oh no, they're not actually mulling about. They're running from something. Oh, they're running from each other because they don't want to socialize. Oh, I see. Okay.
They do want to socialize, but in smaller groups.
They're forming into groups of 3, and they're all the same gender. By the way, there's nothing sexual at all about it.
Do I smell some Andres memes coming?
I don't know.
Why?
Is that something you can smell?
Possibly.
Are you gonna make like an odor, like a candle that's like a scent of Andres?
I've always assumed that Andres smelled like.
What the fuck are you doing to
Why would you have to assume? You slept in the same bed as him. Ooh.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, all right. I forgot about that. My memory blocked.
Oh, I bet you did. Oh, I fucking bet you did.
Podcast
Because motherfuckers wouldn't let me sleep. I still have nightmares of that night.
I'm definitely not cutting this out either.
You don't cut anything out.
Nope. I'll cut out like if everybody.
You remember how this kid was snoring at the last G?
Yeah, I remember. We were all laughing in the middle of the night, unable to cope with it because we were like, "This is literally unbearable. Like, none of us are going to be able to sleep until he calms down." Like, it was just waiting for like the pounding to subside.
So imagine how I felt when the 2 of you snored.
Was I snoring that bad?
Yes! Both of you. Well, Andres worse, but you were equally as annoying because an hour after Andres would stop snoring, then you would start. Then I would have to wait another hour for you to finish, and then suddenly Andres would start up again. This went on for the whole night.
What killed me was when Andre stopped snoring for a minute, and we were like, "Oh, good, he's done." And then we like started to settle in, like we were going to fall asleep. And then all at once, as if it had been building inside of him, he just like exploded like a fucking firecracker.
It's funny because I'm never aware of any of this.
It's amazing. You are literally like an animal when you're asleep. It's all your hatred and rage built inside of you when you're awake. It comes out when you're asleep.
Your nice, quiet Japanese neighbor probably hear you through their paper walls, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Is there a raccoon trying to kill another raccoon in there?
You're going to call the Science Patrol to investigate your ass.
Cool. I almost missed him because when Brayton, Patrick, Andrew, and I were recording our Godzilla vs. Hedorah commentary, we actually missed the time when all the artists were leaving Artist Alley. So we had to like look around the hotel and eventually tracked him down to get my commission.
He actually speaks English?
Very, very, very little English. Where he understands English, but on like a very basic level, like many Japanese people here in Japan who kind of practice English. You would have to speak to him in like a very basic level in a very slower manner in order for him to follow what you're saying.
You mean like how we talk with Bill?
Oh, that you actually he got a really good one in there, the prick. Oh my god! Wow, out of nowhere too. I was just sitting here sitting here drinking my Diet Coke. He just fucking snapped at me like an adder and shit. My god. Oh, you're gonna fucking regret that.
You dirty motherfucker.
You're gonna regret that, David.
Are we finally getting a union?
Oh, definitely not now.
What about that 401k or dental?
You're gonna be lucky if you have teeth by the end of this podcast.
We're never getting dental now.
I walked into that one, didn't I?
Yeah, just like you're gonna walk into my fist and your teeth are gonna be out of your mouth. I was hoping it would be a crossover with Bob the Builder, but not the new like CG cool young Bob the Builder. I want the old school fat chubby. Yeah, can we talk about Bob the Builder for a second? Like they really fucked that up, didn't they? Like Bob the Builder was
fuck CG Chuck E. Cheese. No.
You go back to your room and be portrayed by traditional animation or stop motion animation.
Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese is CGI now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to my childhood, man?
Is this show going to have that annoying announcer guy from that one show we were watching? Is he going to pop up every now and then and go fucking Builder?
I have no idea.
Bob the Builder, yes. Sorry, So, tonight is a very special episode of the Sons of Serizawa podcast, but before we get into all of that, there is a massive news item. It's hard to even call this a news item. It's more of just really sad thing that we have to address up front at the very top of this podcast before we say anything else, because it is a very sad, somewhat sensitive, thing. We talk about celebrity deaths all the time, but perhaps not one that's to our hearts and so close to our fandom. So Andres, being the usual bearer of news, as always, why don't you inform us as to who we lost today?
The well-known Japanese suit actor Haruo Nakajima, best known for being the first individual to play the King of the Monsters himself, Godzilla, from the first film in 1954 all the way to Godzilla vs. Gigan in the 70s, has recently passed away. He was born on January 1st, 1929, and lived until August 7th, 2017. He was 88. I have been anticipating this for quite some time. I have heard about his declining health over the last couple of months, and how I've even talked to certain individuals who would suggest the idea that he should retire from convention appearances. In a way, I'm not all that surprised by it, and at the same time, I am also at peace with this unfortunate bit of news, knowing that, yes, as you guys mentioned, he lived a long and healthy life, and I'm really glad that he was able to see the progression of this creature this character that he himself played a huge part in bringing to life. So as to what I stated on Facebook, he certainly played a huge influence in my life, as he helped spark my passion for Japanese cinema. I, and I'm sure the world as well, will never forget his contributions to the world of Japanese entertainment. I'm happy that he was able to live long enough to see the impact his work made on a worldwide scale, bringing to life a character that is instantly recognizable in every country from people of all ages. Rest in peace, Mr. Nakajima. Thank you for being an inspiration to countless generations.
I'm really, really bummed out because he was my first Godzilla. You know,
everybody's.
Yeah, my first was Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, so he was definitely my very first Godzilla.
Yeah, my first film was Godzilla vs. Gigan, which is ironic because that's the film that he retired afterwards.
Right, so that was his last one.
Yeah, that was my gateway drug into Godzilla, kaiju, basically everything about Japan. And out of all the suit actors, he's the one that gave the character a certain personality. And, well, needless to say, he was the best out of all the suit actors. I never met him, but I'm gonna miss him because, for the longest time, with, your heroes, you think they're immortal, but then when the day comes when they pass on, it, really, really bums you out.
Yeah, well, like they've already touched on, I knew that this was a possibility for quite some time, not only because of the stories of his health declining recently, but also just because, like they've already said, he was not a young man. I had hoped maybe to get a chance to meet him before it happened, but, such is how it happened. But yeah, I mean, what a talent. Beyond Godzilla, let's not forget his many other roles in the genre, Mothra and whoever else he was. It's a long list.
Gyra is the other big one that...
Yeah, that was his favorite role, I believe.
Not enough people are thinking to mention War of the Gargantuas because that was his favorite that he ever played. He was also immortalized in plastic. I don't know if everybody's seen the Haru Nakajima action figure of him wearing
with the suspenders.
Yes, that is a great action figure, and that is a great picture. That's always been floated around. If I may say my piece about it, talking about celebrity deaths is always incredibly strange because, again, we don't know these people. Even if you meet them, you don't know them on an interpersonal level. However, you spend so much of in certain instances with certain celebrities, you spend so much of your childhood being affected by their work that it doesn't matter who they are in reality. The version of them in your head becomes who they are to you. And then when you learn that person has passed on, the reality of that character that you loved and the remembrance of all that work that was done for them it's not lost, but it takes a hit, and it definitely makes it harder now to remind everybody of how awesome said individual and said work was. So we all have to take up that responsibility now, which I hope this podcast will be the first in a long line of trying to do. But what I'm trying to say is, this is a different case for all of us, I think, but for me especially, just because, man, I spent so much of my childhood rewatching these movies a million times, and watching the Godzilla sequences in particular with such a keen focus and attention and desire to recreate them, that I memorized every frame of what he would do in that suit. So those movements and that performance is incredibly iconic and impactful to me. My perceptions of giant monsters and of Godzilla especially is defined by how Haru Nakajima stumbled around in that suit. Or it was a very precise stumbling, as I learned later in life. So that's why it's such a big deal to me, and why it's such a big hit. What I'm ultimately glad about, though, is that he did live such a long life, and that he is somebody who got to appreciate the fruits of his labor. He took a lot of hits, as we talked about earlier. He took a lot of abuse from E.G. Sabraya, but he always did what he was asked of, and he always did it with a respectful smile and nod. And now, all these years later, he's been thanked for it by his fans, and I'm glad that he got to live long enough to see that come back around, and for people to go, "Oh my God, you're awesome! You're Godzilla! Like, that's the coolest thing ever." And the fact that he really embraced that legacy so much and would be more than happy to strike up the pose and walk down the street again. Cynical bastards like us, that's the only thing that will bring warmth to our cold, dead hearts. At least for me, in particular. So, I guess I'm just bummed out, like David said, is ultimately the best way to put it, so.
I'm not sure if we can say that we wouldn't be where we are today if it weren't for Nakajima, but we certainly wouldn't remember our perception of Godzilla was certainly molded. He certainly, helped mold and created this identity for Godzilla, and he set the bar for everyone else who would follow him afterwards. So I feel like while there have been other Godzilla suit actors afterwards, and there may have been some besides him, if he didn't play these monsters, I'm sure someone else would have. But I have a strong feeling that they wouldn't have been the same if anyone else had played these characters.
The way Godzilla walks and moves is incredibly iconic, and everybody after him was trying to recreate the way he did it. You know, the Heisei and Millennium guys definitely had to do different things because of the necessities of those suits. But at the end of the day, they were still doing that Godzilla walk that Nakajima perfected when he was looking at bears in a zoo. So
arms stretched out, lumbering forward.
Yeah, throwing the legs out, like bouncing on the tail. Like, yeah, it's very iconic.
Head, like tilting his head a little forward to make it look like the monster Godzilla's hunching over, or like keeping his head low to the ground.
Yeah, and at a certain pace to give him this lumbering sense of mass.
Yeah. And also, he was doing something that really was never done before. He was kind of like when Toho was creating the first Godzilla movie, it was pretty much a trial and error sort of ordeal. And so he created the building blocks for modern suit acting.
Absolutely.
So he certainly was quite the innovator.
I mean, think about motion capture. Like, performing under something. It's kind of early motion capture in a way, except the CGI is already on the screen, like on top of the actors. So it's kind of hard. It's harder in a sense because you're performing through the character that's being placed over you. So it's also sort of puppetry. He was a jack of all trades and a master of as many as he could be.
It's not unlike the way that over the years Universal had to have several different people step into the Frankenstein makeup, but nobody anybody after Karloff was sort of palely imitating Karloff to varying degrees of success. It's a similar situation.
Not to discredit all the actors that came later, because again, they're all great for their different movies. But again, Nakajima defined what and who Godzilla is. So perhaps more so than Honda and Sabraya and Tanaka did. Kayama did. There's a whole bunch of people that were there in the pre-production stage that were like, this is what I want Godzilla to be. No, this is what I want Godzilla to be. But Nakajima was the one going to the zoo figuring out how he was actually going to move on screen. So think about it. He was really the one making the big decisions.
Yeah.
I think that his legacy will live on if guys like us try hard enough, and if people just keep watching those movies, it'll speak loud enough for itself. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 years ago, in August of 2013, on my YouTube channel, we debuted a new regular series of not videos, but podcasts called the Sons of Serizawa Podcast. The exact day was August 8th. The cast was a little different than it is now, but the core idea...
One less Latino, one more white guy.
Yeah, and now we've dropped the white guy, we've kept the two Latinos, so now it's an even keel. So it's sort of all even. It all evened out in the end. Despite all the differences in racial integrity and cast, the core themes were still the same. 4 guys, all of whom are hardcore Godzilla fans, getting on, talking bullshit about what the fuck ever. Now, the dirty...
Why does this sound like a porno, Bill?
Because it was. The first episode was all about plane jizz. Do you not remember? Were you not there, child? You were there. I remember. We talked that night.
And it was called Bill's Gallbladder.
But he certainly remembers.
So, the show has certainly changed since then, but at the end of the day, that's what it's always about. Now we just planned it out a little more. Just a little, realistically.
It's supposed to be about the randomness, man.
It was originally.
Then we got all corporate with schedules and shit.
Yeah, schedules, planning out topics, getting games set up in advance. How dare we?
It was about the music, man.
Sold out, man.
Well, we haven't sold out yet. That's yet to come, and hopefully it'll come at some point.
Remember when the SOS was good? No, you don't, because it never was good. But it had integrity.
It had integrity. I don't know if it ever had integrity either. We, again, plain jizz. But yeah, no, 4 years ago we started this show, so it's been quite the journey. I mean, we could rant and rave about a whole bunch of shit about like how great this show is and how much fun we have, but it would all be lying. So we're not gonna waste our time. No, I mean, all I want to say is that this show is a blast. That's why I've continued to do it for 4 years through all of the bullshit that we have had to deal with in the interim. We've still met up every 2 weeks, tried to anyway, in order to talk shit and do any and all things. So I think that in and of itself is a credit to the endurance of this podcast.
Ever since I joined this show in the very second episode, it has been an absolutely life-changing experience for me in, surprisingly enough, all the positive ways. The more I hang out with you guys, the more I was able to grow and change as a person. I feel like I've been able to...
By using us as an example of what not to be.
Well, that, obviously. And through you guys, I learned to be more assertive, more self-confident, unashamed, unabashed in my own stupidity and confidence and
that
passion.
Is the best thing I've ever heard. Like, I love that I have taught somebody that, like, because that is absolutely how I live life.
Not to give a fuck. Just go at it. Just go, like, to quote the great Don Fry, go right into it.
Go right into it.
No matter how stupid or impossible something may seem, no matter how impractical an idea may seem at first, you never know. It's like the classic phrase, you'll never know unless you try, and you guys have certainly taught me that as well. And it was thanks to you guys who have influenced me for all these years that gave me, eventually the confidence to move to Japan, to start this crazy new life as an English teacher, and to now start working on my own comic book. You guys were there as my biggest inspiration, and so I really would not be where I am today if it weren't for you guys. I mean, for you guys, you are practically family to me. Not even practically, you guys in all genuinely are my family. And I thank you for these past 4 years. And I can only hope that we'll have many, many more to come.
Hopefully. And the feelings are absolutely mutual.
So does this mean that me and your sister are cousins?
Fuck you, David.
If I ever do meet your sister, that's the first thing I'm going to say to her. I'm going to cousin.
Like Lilo and Stitch? I'm sure that'll go. That reference will go over well. She'll be like, "Oh, he's a normal boy."
Ohana means family means never being embarrassed to call out someone's bullshit.
Never be embarrassed to yell at somebody for rank stupidity.
Yes.
Yeah, Bill lives by that lifestyle. I can vouch for that.
I do. I love to yell at people for their rank stupidity.
And for the record, David, I consider you a brother, not a cousin.
So
does that make her my sister, unbiologically?
Sure, let's go with that.
Why are you so obsessed with this point? You fucking weirdo.
I just want to point out that I found Andres. I made him what he is.
You did. That's true. I never would have let you on this podcast had it not been for David. I would have just been like, nope, I don't know this guy. Fuck this. I'm terrified of new people, so...
If David would have recommended me in 2017, would you still say the same?
I mean, you guys don't invite people on the podcast anymore, and thank God, because I probably would say no. Yeah, I probably would say no. But it was
early. People is enough.
That's the thing. Like, we had 4 at that point. I mean, but you know what the reason was? David, you were out that night, or you were gonna be. And then I was like, oh, well, we need to fill in. So, Andres, why don't you come on? And then, David, you turned out not to be out, so we were all there anyway. So then we all just became one big happy family.
Yeah, and then the only other person we've ever had on the show was Jacob Baker, only because he's an amazingly kind, generous, and all-around awesome person.
Right, we've had other people, like, dip in before. But, like, Kyle's been on for, like, a hot second.
Yeah, for the G-Fest videos.
Yeah. So it's been a wide mix of people, but the 4 of us have been here most of the time, so we're really all that counts.
I've been, with the exception of the pilot, I've been here all the time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wait, Didn't you miss another one? No, I don't think you have.
I think no, because at that point we started like postponing episodes just so we can get everyone involved.
That's true. We usually try, if one person can't make it, usually we try to be like, all right, well, let's see if we could just do it tomorrow and where everybody can make it, so.
Yeah, like back when we were 5 people, we didn't bother doing that.
Yeah.
With only 4 being the much more manageable number, we actually did try to do that.
Yeah, we haven't had many times where we've just been like, well, fuck it, David's not here, or Andres isn't here, or Dylan's not here. Or usually we just like, well, we'll do it another night. So
Fuck it, no one's here.
Fuck it, I'll do it myself. Fuck it, I'll write it and I'll do it live.
Bill, do you remember the pitch I gave to you so Andres can join?
No.
So
it was 4 years ago?
I don't know if I ever told you this, but here was the pitch that I gave Bill to let you join.
All right.
I told him that, I told Bill to think of himself as Captain Kirk, me as Spock, Dylan as Scotty, Adam as McCoy, and you as the Russian guy.
Chekhov. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Either Chekhov or Uhura. Make your pick.
I was gonna say
you wish you were a Uhura.
Or George Takei, since, you're a weeboo.
God damn it, David.
LOL. But it's been a wild ride since those days, and we've definitely done a bunch of wildly different stuff since then. The one thing that we brought back, the news segments have been a consistent thing since like the 3rd or 4th episode. That's when Andre started doing that. But, the cryptid stuff has been like a sort of sporadic thing. Like we've only just brought that back regularly recently. Prior that was a every now and then type of deal. So we try to keep certain things as kind of definitive elements of our show because we want to differentiate ourselves from other podcasts and from the other podcasts that we do.
And that's pretty much why we're not that popular.
Because we don't do
we don't do like kaiju Godzilla stuff despite being Godzilla kaiju YouTubers ourselves.
We do reviews and stuff, sort of, but like that's not what this show is for.
Right. No, that's not, it's not what it is. It's if you were to categorize this in any sort of way, it's mainly a comedy show.
I mean, absolutely.
But it's like anytime anyone would talk about our show online, they would refer to it as like a mature, raunchy, adult comedy show.
And it's where I feel like we've gotten less raunchy as we've gotten older.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about pseudo-intellectuals who don't know how the world works.
That's how it's best described.
We're pseudo-intellectuals who live in our mother's basements, who don't know what we don't know what we're talking about because we don't know how the real world works.
That's the SOS. That is the best way I can think.
That's more specifically what the SOS is in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
And after coming to befriend I guess a more popular individual within the Godzilla fan base, such as like D-Man 1954, or even like checking out other channels like Monstrosity Vlogs, or like what's his name? Sorry, I feel so sorry. Goji Fan 1993. These are individuals who do like consistent tokusatsu, especially Godzilla related material.
These are people who put effort into their content. And well, Andres, you belong more in that category than I do because I can't do that anymore. Like, I was better at that when I was younger. Like, I used to do that. Like, I used to put out regular giant monster reviews and content like that.
Bill definitely used to put out.
David. I feel like David just like, he wants me to try and murder him the next time I see him. Like, cause when we first met up, like, I didn't try to murder him, and I think he was disappointed. And I think that now, since then, he's been, like, desperately trying to motivate me to try and kill him the next time we meet up. And now I think I'm gonna have to oblige.
Well, I've only had one major story with me this week, and speaking of dead birds being objects that nobody was asking for, nor does anybody want. Warner Brothers has announced that they want to make a solo Joker origin story
Yeah, this was
And Jared Leto's pissed.
This was some wet and wild shit, wasn't it?
I mean, Jared Leto was pissed. Hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna kill these people. Have you seen this thing? Have you heard this thing?
That was the best Joker from Suicide Squad I've heard since I saw that movie.
The thing with that Joker is like he sounds like the most coked out like drug dealer.
He totally does. He seems constantly detached.
Talks like this.
Well,
you gotta get
Ventura.
You gotta get into like a Richard
Nixon.
You gotta get into like a Richard Nixon impression. You know, you start with I am not a. All that talking's gonna get you hurt. Like it's the same.
He's constantly grabbing people and shaking them around. He's a very touchy Joker.
He puts his hands all over their faces and shoulders.
Terrible.
He has the same habit. He has the same habit as John Travolta in Face Off. He's just like constantly molesting people.
Yeah, but that was Nicolas Cage in John Travolta's body. That made 8 different kinds of sense.
But remember the Oscars where like John Travolta was like putting his hands all over that woman's face. He's like, "Oh my god, you're so beautiful!"
Well,
God.
We know in reality that John Travolta is greeting like young boys who are masseuses at hotels nude at the doorway. This is apparently a thing that happens. So
and you're wrong. And you're wrong, Bill, because he does that in the movie before he even switches faces with Nick Cage.
When?
There's at the very beginning of the movie.
Oh, right. So, yeah, the sign of like that it's him. Like he puts his hand over their face. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he just does that.
Right.
The creepiest shit you ever do in your
It
entire
is
life.
so creepy.
Do you remember Andres doing that to us in California? Just rubbing our faces.
Not when I was awake. I mean, you guys were sharing a bed. I mean, I was off on my own. What were you guys doing when I was sleeping?
You gotta understand, David. Andres doesn't think he's a very innocent young boy. He's.
I mean, what I particularly hate. I mean, I know we're spinning our wheels about social media now, but this is a thing I don't like. When a movie advertiser will use the emojis in the marquees for the movies, because it's always so fucking like dad trying to relate to his kids,
Especially the Emoji Movie. Where do they get off using all those damn emojis?
That's like the one instance where it would make sense, and they abused it to such an incredible extent. Did you guys see the like TV spots the weekend after that came out? Andreas, I know you wouldn't have. I'm mostly just asking this generally. Where because the movie was so raked over the coals, they literally couldn't have blurbs from reviews, which usually have. They literally could not do. There was not. It had a 0% for a while, but they eventually got like to a 7 or
7%,
7 or something. Yeah. So
they resort to, like tweets.
No, they were just emojis.
What?
They were
wait. They did that same bullshit with, what was it? It was like one of the Paranormal Activity movies. They put like,
they put the
Twitter
the scared emoji face. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Twitter reactions at least have words in them. I see Twitter reactions all the time.
What's always bizarre to me is when they like reference Rotten Tomatoes in a movie ad. And I'm like, what about the like 40-year-old mom at home who doesn't know what Rotten Tomatoes is?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then she sees a commercial for Spider-Man Homecoming, and it's like certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
well, they see the certified fresh, I guess, and that's supposed to mean something. But more than that, they look at the numbers as like, one person reviewed Spider-Man Homecoming and gave it whatever percentage it has on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not how it works at all.
Right, and they don't know that all that means is that most of the people who saw this didn't want to screw their eyes out of their heads.
Although, what's really funny when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes is that people tend to use it when it suits them, and then immediately try to discredit it when other people try to use it. It's like,
yeah. I mean,
people are either for Rotten Tomatoes or they're against Rotten Tomatoes. Where it's
why can't it just exist? Why does it have to be like this moral conundrum?
This movie's great because it's got a 90-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, or Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 70%, a 60%. Oh well, who cares what they think? It's aggregate scores are bullshit.
That's actually a pretty funny example of this. So Sony, who of course co-produced Spider-Man Homecoming, they're okay with putting the certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes in the.
Like they did they put on the Blu-ray box for Ghostbusters, certified fresh.
But at the same time, immediately after The Dark Tower came out and was getting all those bad reviews, they were one of they jumped on the whole Rotten Tomatoes is ruining the film industry thing. I'm like, fucking...
The emojis and Rotten Tomatoes are killing the film industry. Together. You know what? Maybe the emoji movie was onto something. Emoji reviews are great because then they'll be shorter. Then we won't have to do... I mean, we'll be out of a job, but, you know, or at least Andres will be. Because, you know, I just ramble for 2 hours. So my rambling in emoji form would still probably be it would be like a 20-minute stream of emojis, but it would still be shorter. So maybe this is the key. Maybe this is the key to getting the kids where they're at. Cause that's the thing. It's like eventually the generations are going to keep cycling and cycling until the point where we're the old school, unhip, like old men.
We already are.
Yeah, it seemed like the emoji movie was like the most obvious example of old white businessmen trying to pander to the kids nowadays.
Yeah,
and because it was so obvious that it seemed like everyone saw through this act.
There was a bit where they play Candy Crush. Like, that's too much.
I still want to know, like, at what point we started calling them emojis, because I remember a point in time when they were called emoticons.
Those are
emoji. I think that came from Japan. That came from Japan. I think the term emoji.
First time I heard the phrase emoji, I was like, "What the fuck is an emoji?"
Well, isn't an emoticon one that you make with keyboard signs, and it actually looks like it's made out of the keyboard signs, which are 10 times cooler?
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's why I usually use the keyboard ones, and I don't go for the actual different menu in my phone where I have to like cycle through pages to decide how I feel. You know, like.
Oh, okay. So I never knew that there was actually a difference between those two terms. I thought we just started calling them emojis all of a sudden. I was like, the fuck's an emoji?
No. One was used by AIM. Oh, no. AIM was one of the first ones. You can see the term emoji probably was like first attached to something like AIM, because in AIM, you know, AOL Instant Messenger for you kids. When
you got mail.
Yep. When you would type in an emoticon, often it would turn into an emoji when you see it, which is what Facebook Messenger does now, which I hate.
That's why I started using emojis more often.
You know what I used to call them? Smiley face.
Yeah, well, I used to just describe the emotion that they reflected,
etc.
So I don't know, man. It's a different world out there. One with like emojis, emoticons, and now we have GIFs. But yeah. Do you remember when a meme was like the peanut butter jelly time? I think we've talked about this before, but like the peanut butter jelly time song was once a meme. That was considered a meme. Like we're so far beyond that now. Like if you showed that to a kid, like, oh, this is a meme, they'll be like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like, because they're so cynical and angry at the world because of the world we've made for them. But
well, do you remember when memes made sense? Like they were just like.
I don't know. I don't really think a lot about the memes that I share, to be honest. I usually look at them while I'm working, and then I put my phone back in my pocket and slam my head against a wall. No.
How long do you think? What are the chances that the meme movie will ever be made?
What is that? What is that movie? Like,
it's a bunch of frogs on unicycles. And
see, the copyright law there would be fascinating. Because a lot of memes are previously trademarked characters. Like a lot of meme characters, like I mean, Shrek was a meme for a minute. You know what? SpongeBob memes are still their own subgenre.
Yeah.
A meme movie would be better. It would be impossible though.
And then at some point they would have to back and meet like the old.
You got to bring in the Revenge of the Sith memes? Like those are huge.
Do it.
Not just
I got the high ground.
The high ground memes are huge.
You know what you should do? At some point, your characters go to like a retirement home for memes, and you just see a bunch of like old ass memes. Fucking Boromir's in there going, "One does not simply," and like.
Yeah. Oh my god. There is a museum for memes. There was an art. Well, it was an art installation that was like made up to look like a museum. It wasn't permanently in place. They have those art spaces in LA, and they set it up at one of those places. That's a cool idea. I would go to one of those for like 20 minutes.
So why is it every time you tell me about something cool, it turns out to be an art installation? Have you noticed it?
Because this one actually was, and that's what it should be. It's art. Well, art in a very general sense on display. So, art installation.
So that's the one that Akira Takarada pretended to fight with.
Yeah, he touched it, and then you spoke the wrong language to him and ruined it. It was great.
Twice.
It was a very stressful situation.
Wait a minute, is this something that happened at G-Fest?
Yes.
We've told
last
this
year.
story so many times. Oh my-
I spoke Spanish to Akira Takarada.
What did you say?
Dylan wowed him with his varied worldliness in languages.
Dave, I would like to tell you what he said, but I can't because, as the point of this story should tell, I don't speak Japanese.
No, he speaks Spanish.
And then I tried to correct myself, so I then changed to German.
Da. What's doing on this Russian?
Wait, so what did you say in Spanish?
It was all very quick. He asked me a question. I said, "Si."
Shit.
Then I realized that I had said the wrong language, and then I switched to "ya."
Yeah.
And then
Oh my god! I was standing right next to him. It was the most enriching.
Don't worry.
It was the most enriching 30 seconds of my life.
I mean, I was meeting Ogata. I got a little flustered.
Your knees got all trembly.
You could tell why he was chosen over Serizawa.
Little starstruck, which did not happen when I met M11. So
Imagine if the M11 actor listens to this podcast.
Oh,
Imagine-
dude!
Oh
if he-
my
if he
God,
did,
do you
if he
remember
did,
when
he
we-
would already be pissed off at the fact that we called him Mr. Laryngitis during our first year of G-Fest.
Because we forgot who he was.
We didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
we didn't realize that he was M11 until too late, and then we realized that we had been making fun of Japanese Terminator.
I like to consider things that I don't know yet things I've simply forgotten. Is that wrong with me?
Or at least it went a lot better than us. So at least we didn't insult Katsura when we were in the elevator with her.
Maybe we
No,
insulted
in
her by silence, by just awkward silence.
We didn't recognize her. She rode in the elevator with us. She was holding a Mechagodzilla toy. It couldn't have been any more perfect, but we didn't realize it was Katsura.
Guys, I didn't tell you, but I totally winked at her. I'm sorry. I totally ruined that entire moment.
I mean, I don't blame you. She has aged incredibly well. As
She
they
fucking
tend to.
kicked me in the shin after we got out of the elevator.
Did she really?
No! Oh my! Are you?
What?
David, go back to your basement.
How do you not recognize Katsura?
Okay, we're in an
Well,
elevator.
it's been
First of all,
40 fucking years.
we don't interact when we're in elevators. All right, we're not weird people. You know, when you're in an elevator, you look. It's like using the urinal. You look straight.
You look
and you don't
straight up.
converse.
You unzip your pants without looking at it.
The
And you
exact
talk
same,
about the weather.
precisely.
That's how elevators work.
So
Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I've been thrown out of so many, I don't know anymore. I'm almost positive that I am right about the number. One of you can check to see if I am wrong. But I have confidence tonight. And confidence... Oh, I don't have a Hawaiian shirt on for once, though. Fuck, I'm sans that. Oof. I might not have the juice tonight, but I'll try my best. I have a hoodie on, so hopefully that'll do it. I'm wearing a Halloween-accurate hoodie, so that's the reason. Because it is the month of October, and we're going to be celebrating that. But joining me to celebrate the overall macabre month, David Joshua Hernandez, Gorzard, he's here.
since Brayton is here, does that mean Bill's going to inflate our
You
taxes?
spoiled the
to our
reveal.
pay?
You blew the reveal, David. I was trying to keep quiet.
Yeah, he
He
was...
always bully you.
No one told me about any reveal.
I mean, it was kind of implied.
I was going to
Implied.
jump out of a pumpkin and
Never
scare the
spoke,
kids,
Bill.
but now you ruined it.
Be covered in like
I said-
rotten pumpkin guts and seeds and shit and be all gross. It's
You had
fucked
that
up
prepared,
now.
didn't you, Chris?
Brayton, we might as well introduce you now. Brayton Connor is here.
Hello. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Covered in pumpkin guts.
I don't like where this is going, Bill.
Never call something a special episode because it makes me think we're going to get real for a moment until the
Oh,
kids
we're
about
going to
8.
get pretty real later, trust me. We're going to get about as real as you can. I mean, you know, you helped me make the thing that's pretty real. So we'll get there though. So, it's the month of Halloween. We're going to be trying to scare the hell out of you all episode long. Brayton has agreed to come on to round out our roster
To scare the hell out of you, I will be doing the scaring as
Oh.
I'm covered in pumpkin juice.
Exactly
I,
right.
I think the only way you can actually scare us if you were to do a particular impersonation of a particular somebody that we all dread to have to interact with.
Andres, I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Stop, Andres. Okay, yeah.
Oh no! Things just.
I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. I just lapsed into an impression.
that
And then he just walked away.
fugue.
Whatever. Yes.
Those two fugue states there were fascinating to say the least, and terrifying. Oh,
Fine, I'll pay attention while at the same time not pay attention.
Doing the tag video.
And not do the tag video.
all right, Dylan, take us to the next question, sir.
All right, same deal. 3 serial killers. Tell us which one you think is the fake one. Tom Jones Mason from 1972 to 1978, former birthday clown turned sex cult leader, responsible for planning the rape and murder of 18 teenage girls. And
Don't laugh. Hold on. Don't laugh, Andres.
Don't laugh at former birthday clown sex cult leader. What's funny about that? You sick. Anyway, yeah.
You read it.
Sadly, it's the only laugh a clown will ever get is something when something like this happens.
Oh, this is the funniest the clown has been in a long time. Yeah.
By the way, if you Googled Walmart people, you will find some horrific shit.
I've never Googled that specific thing, but now I guess I'll have to.
I mean, look, go to a Walmart at like 2 in the morning.
Just look at some people, and you'll get a good sense of what he means.
It's like bird watching, but terrifying.
Far more dangerous.
Although I guess bird watching could be terrifying if you had a fear of birds. So imagine that. That's what.
Good God, Andres, what triggered you to Google Walmart people?
What Bill said right now.
Scaring the hell out of him.
About
That's what I always do. I always make some Google stuff.
There's a
Oh,
picture of one woman with a fat ass who hasn't wiped her ass.
Hot. I'm glad that's a thing.
the first image. The first image that pops up when you Google search that, I don't know what is going on with this woman's hair.
I know. An Ewok is sitting on her head.
No, it looks like Whitney Houston shrunk in the wash, but her hair stayed the same size.
Right.
There's one guy whose back is like enormous and his legs are really tiny, but clearly it's not a Walmart. It's like a gas station of some kind. It's definitely not a Walmart.
That's
Looks like a Ninja Turtle.
I don't know how that happens. Like, how does that body shape exist?
Why
in
are
nature?
so many people taking pictures of people's butt cracks? Why do you want that in your memory?
Because butt cracks are funny.
I suppose so. There's one like savage woman with like fucking furs and shit.
Did you see the bearded woman?
There's lots of fucking vagina shots. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on at Walmart.
That's
Well,
a woman.
I guess that's the question. Is it a bearded woman or is it a very
An effeminate man.
Well, I'm glad,
Very
I'm glad we
well-
used Google to answer that question for us.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, back boobs. Why?
So many thongs in public.
So many
Look
songs
at-
about them.
Look at the fat guy that's fallen out of his scooter and he's trying to use the shelves to climb back up.
What would have happened if Bill Anders, what would happen if we went to Walmart when we were in California?
We would have left you there forever. And
Well,
stolen
first
your
of all,
car.
that was your ride back
I
to
would
the
have
hotel.
stolen your car.
I mean, I assume it wouldn't have been any different than when we went to Walmart in New York. Like what? Just it's a Walmart.
There are walls and there's marts in them.
They're literally the same everywhere, and that's what's so magical and disturbing about them.
David, what is going on in the background?
Whoops.
Why do I hear
That's like the music Wonder Woman's facing when she's going up against all these Walmart zombies.
Back, I say, back!
Never before
That's
has-
the Wonder Woman sequel I want to see. Wonder Woman in Walmart.
Wonder Woman WW versus W.
W versus all of the above. Listen, Wonder Woman, I think you're great, but you gotta stop murdering people with your sword. That's just not cool, It's an absolute disaster. Much like what will eventually become of the news fucking broadcast that we do, because Andres wants to go and change the fucking name on us. Look at this kid.
I didn't want to change. Okay, it was suggested, and there was a suggestion that I happened to have liked. Don't you go fucking putting words in my mouth, Bill.
I'll put anything I want in your mouth, all right?
Was that a threat, Bill?
Whoa.
That was also a threat.
Come down over there, Billy Weinstein. Let's just...
Listen, don't use
what's
my
next, Bill?
don't use my street name on this podcast, all right? Oh, that was
What's next? Are you gonna ask me to watch you take a shower?
I already have a camera in there that I've sent you guys footage from. It's fine.
Andres, next time
for scientific purposes.
I said next time you and Bill share a bed in the motel room. I get my own next time.
No, that was delightful. I just got to sit there in my Hawaiian shirt and watch you two be miserable. We watched Godzilla raids again to make ourselves more miserable.
Well, Andres was asleep, and you and me just had an audio commentary for the first 20 minutes,
which was great because you and I that felt like something that should have happened years ago. Except that I fell asleep like 25 minutes in. I was dead tired. We had driven from another city. I didn't know. We had both driven from another city that day, but David is he runs on some kind of energy that comes from an alternate dimension that he taps into and doesn't need to sleep.
He runs on spacium energy.
Yeah, he runs on space titanium is what he runs on.
It's a funny thing you mentioned, Dad, because I do need sleep aids to help me sleep.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, I didn't mean to fucking jab at your medical issues, but wow. When did you start doing that?
I don't know. It's ever since I started working at McDonald's. And It's gotten worse now since on my new job. Since
it's crazy. You think that working at a job like that where you're constantly on your feet and doing stuff, you think that you would
want to sleep?
Because I find that now that I work super full time, sleep is not an issue for me. I'm whenever sleep is available, I'm there. It's not a problem. It's at will at this point.
I mean, sometimes you just reach the point where you just can't go to sleep without a hooker to give you a hand job. Luckily for Dave, he lives in Las Vegas, so there's plenty of those around.
To make fun of you though, that's totally. We've all been through that at some point. There was a time when I had just gotten into college and it was done for the year, and it was summertime. I had to start taking some stuff to help me sleep. Because I wasn't doing anything during the day. On the days that I wasn't working. So I had no reason to go to sleep and I was just staying up all night and watching House. So eventually I had to force myself to get some sleep. So it happens. It happens. Anyway.
See, that's a portrait of Bill's crazy college years, right? Most people, it's I was up all night fucking partying. Bill's
or I was studying or something. I'm just I was watching House.
Yo, I binged House. Well.
Anyways, Subaru filed the new complaint under a Los Angeles court, and it was over this unofficial use of Ultraman in this Chinese CG animated movie called Goodbye Ultraman, part of some franchise called Dragon Force.
Oh, right, we talked about that. That was
right.
The creepy on stage makeup Ultraman. That was
with a large chin and some painted body and. Large bulge.
The bulge was what I really remembered because I remember watching it being who thought this was okay? Who said, "Oh yeah, that's acceptable."
So Bill, you wouldn't like it if I bring that Ultraman to your birthday party?
Are you going to throw me a birthday party with alcohol? Are you going to buy me alcohol? If you buy me alcohol, you can bring whoever the fuck you want to my party.
There will be Kool-Aid involved in some petting zoos, and that body painted Ultraman.
I'll be drunk, so whatever. It sounds like a good time. Getting real with us, Andres.
Yeah. So how's the situation in North Korea? Andres, you can see North Korea from your house, right? Can you do a little spying on them for us? Break out the binoculars.
Let's see.
You're good buddies with fucking Kim Jong-un, right?
Let's see. Nope, I don't see any suspicious activity. Nope.
All right. Yeah. Nope.
You sound like that guy in that fucking Bigfoot police call that was popular on the internet for all those years. Where it's oh my god, he's staring at me from behind my house. You gotta come and help me.
I just imagine Andres spying on North Korea from his rear window, Jimmy Stewart style.
Oh God!
Kim Jong Un
I
in
don't
his
like
window,
looks of this.
in his
Clarence,
window,
I
like
wanna live.
changing.
But nobody in America believes him. He's like, it's a missile silo. You gotta get over here.
They're capturing American celebrities and putting them in a dungeon.
I can't stop him. I've got vertigo.
I've got to teach my class. I don't have time to stop North Korea. Andres Perez, teacher, spy. Questionably good at both.
But not a tinker or a tailor or a soldier.
Well, I'm glad that you.
That's a yay or nay on that Balto review.
No.
Then I will.
Why don't we
launch
do a comment?
campaign
We're gonna
to
do
get you to do it, Bill.
We're gonna do a commentary on it. It'll be even better.
Wait, really?
We will neither
Sure.
we will neither confirm nor deny the existence of Baltopalooza. All right, it's
No, but if we do it, we'll do it as a commentary on the show. Because I would prefer you be there so you can explain it to me while it's happening.
But Andres is there too. I'm pretty sure he's seen it.
What?
Balto.
Not in like 20 years.
So, David, are you telling me you don't want to watch Balto with me? I'm really offended.
I mean, I'll watch it to provide
shook.
context for certain scenes that don't make sense, like the fact that a Russian goose raised Balto.
Goose raises a wolf?
Yeah, apparently that's a backstory in the movie.
Cool.
Makes more sense than a goose raising a panda.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing, too. It makes more sense than a fucking bunch of apes raising a human.
It's still a better love story than Twilight.
Well, David,
All right, I gotta go now.
Go be
right.
your employer's worst nightmare. Have a good night, man. Thanks for being here.
Right. All right,
Goodbye.
Bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
Sparkles.
Why is he calling you Sparkles now?
I don't know why he does anything.
That's a good way to break it down. But what we are
I just try not to acknowledge it nowadays.
Yeah, asking Dave why he does anything is like asking Edward Enigma who's Batman. You know.
Do you have that tumor in your brain from Family Guy? But it's Dave.
I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor.
Yeah.
I'm a tumor.
Yep. Also, it's like, for whatever reason, David really liked to put the laughing reaction to all of my posts, even though they're not meant to be funny.
Yeah, I think that's just the way he reacts to life in general, because that's
like a dark thing happened. And
it's like the Joker, where it's like his life sucks so much that he just laughs at it all.
He's like the Joker, except he can't muster up the planning to trap people on boats and have them try to blow each other up.
He's like the Joker, but he can't come up with a joke that actually makes sense. So he just
can't.
So he just spouts random shit.
But his insanity is always captivating, though. I
like how the minute he leaves, we just started talking shit about him. This has now become.
I'm not talking shit about it. We would have said this if he was here. What are you talking about?
You're right.
This is truth. Truth.
Truth. Hashtag truth.
Yeah.
We are truth.
There's a difference between what History Channel used to play, which was like, here's how Napoleon won the Battle of whatever the fucking French place. And now it's like,
I mean, they probably also showed that in a really misleading way, but at least that's, historical.
Now it's all, does this house have ghosts, or did aliens fucking build the Eiffel Tower? Like,
did aliens fuck our women and produce Sasquatch? Is that the explanation? And they're keeping them a secret. So our scandal.
Are Sasquatches poisoning the water to make frogs gay?
Listen,
definitely.
If frogs become gay, life will still find a way. Jurassic Park taught us all that.
What about the lionesses?
You've just been waiting to say that, haven't you, Bill?
Yes.
But what about the lionesses in Botswana who are growing manes, Bill? What are we going to do about that?
The same thing we do every night, Dylan. Try to take over the world.
If anybody who's listening at home wants a little preview of what happens to your brain when you're friends with Bill for a long period of time, I was watching the Oscars earlier, and Christopher Walken comes on to present some award. I don't remember what the fuck it was. And as soon as Christopher Walken goes...
Christopher Walken Award for being Christopher Walken. And he's the only recipient every year.
And as soon as Christopher Walken fucking hobbles off onto the stage... I just immediately go, ho!
Kids, here we are. Oscars. There's no one named Oscar here. It's a big fucking lie.
I heard we're giving the awards to a movie about a woman who bangs a fish. Even I wouldn't do a movie where I fucked a fish, and I was in a movie where I fucked Grace Jones.
He did fuck her, didn't he?
I also stuck a pocket watch up my ass.
Belated episode of the Sons of Serizawa podcast. I regret to inform you I don't exactly know the episode number. Maybe episode 98. Potentially. There's always the possibility, the hope.
Oh no, this is gonna suck then.
That's not good. That's not a good number.
Oh, that's a good
Are we gonna have a P Diddy Puff Daddy soundtrack with this podcast?
I feel like if we did, we'd get a lot more views, so maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it have been number 69 or something?
That was really good, Brayden. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
We have many people here tonight, as you've already heard. Joining me as he often does his... I think it's his best, and that often disturbs me. David Joshua Hernandez, he's better known as Gorzard.
You want me to say hello?
If you have to.
But what will my niggas think of me?
If you say hello, I don't know. What do they think of you when you usually say hello to them? Do you usually say something else?
No, I make some weird hand signs as a sign of hello.
This is a podcasting medium, so unfortunately that's not... Unless you want to do it with the microphone. David, you know what? You said enough.
From GPN, is this podcast better than Ghostbusters 2?
No.
Just as good, I would say. I would say we're just as good as Ghostbusters 2, and I think that is the perfect fucking way to break us down and the perfect way to end. Thank you so much to everyone for being here and sticking with us for this 3 hours.
Also for sticking with us for nearly 4 years now.
Well, no, we started at the end of 2013, so
really?
It will be 5 years, actually,
Yeah.
But everyone, I think that's about all the drama and insanity that you can bear for tonight. So, until we next meet, I am Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubar.
I don't feel so good. I don't want to go.
You never want to be here to begin with, David.
That's true, yeah.
But now he doesn't want to go, so it's this weird conflict.
I should have gone for the head.
And I have been Andres Perez, aka Kaiji Noir, and ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the way it's been for 100 episodes.
And the science is still somehow sound.